Your loyal Muppet says, I think McInnes got the selection all wrong. Why was Dragojevic on the bench? Chukwani, Dan Neal and Chermiti. Need that new centre-back on ASAP. Fernandez is a bomb scare a lot of the times. Rangers' ear case says, not hitting the panic button yet. And I do understand the club are not buying anyone for the sake of it, but are now desperate for wingers, pace and creativity, and drop points next weekend again. Dale says, Rangers having only Gassam as a winger, and he's not good enough as a disgrace. Paul says Rangers spent a fortune. The best player is Ascard, and that tells its own story. Although David, preaching caution, he says maybe 8 new players, only 2 or 3 new in the park at the one time. He says everyone needs to chill out. And Ryan Love says something similar. He says, calm down. It's one game. How many points did Celtic give away to United last season? But John is a bit more damning. He says, Cavenagh hasn't got a clue. He was going to stick with Danny Rowe, then it turned strategy in a sixpence and brought in McInnes. He's making it up as he goes along with zero strategy. So, one game into the season, Keith, and already some really strong comments.
Well, yeah, and that's the environment. And that's the environment purely and utterly because Rangers have malfunctioned for such an extended period of time now. In fact, the patience is gone. And if it's not gone, then it's in very short supply. Because Rangers supporters are sick of seeing the same stuff over and over, rinse and repeat every season. So for that reason, there was always likely to be a bit of a backlash if Derek McInnes didn't win his first league game, because Rangers have seen it it's the same old. First game every season, a lot of excitement going into it, and then Rangers slip up. And then before you know it, after the first weekend of the domestic season, they're playing catch-up. So I understand all that. What I would say is I think Andrew Cavenagh, and look, I'm going to say it again, Dan, when Andrew Cavenagh first took over this time about a year ago, I said that things were likely to get worse for Rangers before they got better. And what I meant by that was I think Andrew Cavenagh, he comes into it not understanding the environment, not understanding the club, not understanding the requirements, but he's a really smart guy. So, and when he went in to take over the club this time last year, his eye was fixed purely on the numbers of getting the deal delivered and nailed down. And that was a complicated deal. And I think that he was prepared to delegate on the football front. And I think he made some mistakes. And I think that every day since then has been a school day for him. He put his trust in people like Kevin Thelwell and Russell Martin. And good advice was being ignored. You mentioned there, it's funny, Cherny, McKenna, these guys were all available this time a year ago. Yeah. And they were in a fraction of the cost. Barry Ferguson would have probably wanted to sign both of those particular players.
Yeah.
So Rangers have missed a massive opportunity. And by placing the trust in the wrong people this time last year, it did get worse. And Danny Rowe wasn't the answer. Yep, he had a nice wee party tune, theme tune, and the Rangers fans liked that. But he was never equipped to be the Rangers manager, and looked like a guy completely out of his depth. I think this is my one message that should give Rangers fans perhaps a little bit more confident. I think the Andrew Cavenagh has been a steep learning curve. I think he knows now. He's a far better idea 1 year on what Rangers require than he did back then. He's taking a more hands-on approach to it now, where he was delegating, putting his trust in other people. He's much more hands-on, and I think he's got the right man in Derek McInnes. And I think you'll find that over the course of this season, Rangers will now, they've kind of, it's bottomed out. It did get worse. I think that Rangers will steadily start to grow into something more recognisable with Derek McInnes in charge. I think Andrew Cavenagh will place his trust in him, and I think he's right to do so. But if there are still problems in his recruitment department, if there are guys in there that aren't up to the job of properly equipping Derek McInnes and giving him the tools that he needs, then there's maybe a legacy issue from the mistakes that were made a year ago. And as I said, I find it strange that a couple of these guys who were Kevin Thelwell's, well, one's his son and one's his ally, that they remained inside the thing when Rangers had lost all trust in Kevin Thelwell. Well, these were his appointments. So that one's curious. And right now, Derek McInnes is probably looking at his squad going, guys, where are we? You know, I'm desperate, and you've known since day one that what we need in wide areas and creative areas of the pitch, and they haven't delivered yet. That's not to say they won't, but as I said to you, if you're going through a process right now as a new manager and they're working out who can you hang your hat on, whether it's on the pitch or off the pitch, and I think that process is probably one that Derek McInnes is going through right now.